This tutorial will show you the basic text effects in CorelDraw. I start with a basic text. So for example, I'm going to put effects on this, a very basic effect on this text here. So first, let's start by filling this text with a blue fill. Now if you want to put a drop shadow, a hard drop shadow, so you click on the text and in your keyboard, the plus sign in your keyboard, to duplicate the text. So I have two objects now. I'm gonna move one and I'll make the other one black. Now since the black is to front of the blue, I'm going to click on the black text and you go to arrange, order to back of page, or the shortcut key for that is shift page down. And now I'm just going to move it this way, and it really depends upon what how emphasized your drop shadow would be, but basically it's this kind here. Okay, so drop shadow, a hard drop shadow. Now I'm going to duplicate this one and bring it down. Now how do we do a soft drop shadow? So I click on the text and I go to my drop shadow here, and then I click and drag. And you're going to have a drop shadow, and you can darken the drop shadow by moving that slider over to the black. So basically that's a soft drop shadow. I'm going to color it purple. Now sometimes I'm just going to duplicate this, plus sign in my keyboard, and bring it down. Sometimes you want to put an outline on the drop shadow, an outline on the text, then a drop shadow, which is actually a good idea so that you could isolate the text from the drop shadow. So you click on the text, you go to your outline pen, and let's say you're going to go 4 points and then make it white. And don't forget, this is very important, this behind fill and scale with image. I would suggest to click on behind fill and scale with image so that your outline will go out of the text, not inward to the text. So I click OK. Now that's a text with a drop shadow and an outline. Now I'm going to duplicate this again, plus sign your keyword, and then go down. Okay, now let's say I want to have a gradient fill, so I click on my fill, and then I click on fountain fill, and I click on custom, and I can create my own fill. Say this one, I'll make it yellow, and then in here the angle I can make it 90 degrees, so just type in 90 degrees here so that the gradient will go up like vertically, and then I click OK. So now you have a gradient color on the text, and then you can add, let's say I'm going to add an outline pen. I'll make it black, and then I'll make it a very thick outline, and make sure behind fill and scale with image is checked, and then click OK. Now I have the outline. I'll make it more thicker, it's thicker, so I'll make it say 16 points, and then click OK. Okay, and then notice here in the outline, let's say I want to have it with a radius corner, so I click on the text, go to my outline, outline pen, and in here the corners I can click on this one to make it a radius corner. Click OK. So you notice it's in a, the corners are not sharp. Now let's say I'm going to put more style on it, so I'll click on it and then plus sign your keyboard and move it over to the lower right corner. So I have that. Then I can also fill it with black, and I'll go to arrange, order to back of page, and now I have a simple text effect. Now going back to this text here, let's say I want to put a white outline in here. Oops, Control Z. White, a very thin white outline, and then the thick black outline. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the text. I know that's a text because in here, in the status bar, it's fountain fill, so that's a text. I'm going to click on my plus sign in my keyboard. Okay, and then right now it's 16 points, so I'll make it, go to your outline pen. Let's say I'm going to make it 2 points only, but I'm going to make it white. Okay, white, and then behind fill and scale with images are fine, and then click there. Now you have a different kind of effect. I'm going to make that maybe 4. Click there. Now you just created a simple effects. Hit F4. Now let's experiment on another effect here. So I go back to the simplest one. Plus sign my keyboard and I bring it up. Okay, I'm going to color that. Let's say I'm going to color it orange. I'm going to zoom in here. Now let's say I'm going to create a contour on this text here. So I go to my contour, interactive contour, and then I'm going to create a contour going outside. So you click on this outside here, there, and you notice it's outside. If you don't see the outside, check on your fill here. It should be this different color than the text itself. So I just choose on gray. That's fine because we're still going to edit that next time. So now I have a contour going out, so I click on it. Now I'm going to separate the contour, so I click on arrange, break contour apart. Okay, so now this is my contour and this is my text. I'm going to hit undo. Now you can make a gradient on the text. Let's say I'm going to create a fountain fill on the text. Let's just say I'm going to make it purple, going to, let's say, this color here, and then I'll put 90 degrees so that it would go this way. Okay, and then click OK. And now I can click on the contour. I know that's the contour that I just clicked because in here in the lower right corner it says 50% black. I can still add a fountain fill on the contour itself. So let's say I'm going to make it orange to purple. I'm not sure if that will look good, but let's try, and then type in 90 degree and then click OK. There. So basically what we've done is we put a fountain fill on the basic text, just the text, and then we contour it, but the contour we put a gradient fill too. Okay, and then we can just plus sign the keyboard, move it down, and then make it black, or we can leave it the same as this one. or let's say we make it black, and then arrange order to back of page. Okay, so that's another effect. Okay, now let's do something different here. Okay, let's say I'm going to put here some text. CorelDraw. Going to enlarge it. I'll make a thicker font. Now, another way to stylize a font too is, let's say I want to change the spacing of the letters. I click on my shape tool and I move this going to the right side. You can overlap it this way because we're going to stylize this. Okay. Now let's say I'm going to put an outline. You just put a thin outline, hairline, and then make it gray. So now I can see that I have overlapping text. Now if I want to stylize this, so I click on it and I go to arrange break artistic text. Okay, so now this is separate text now. Okay, so now I can color it, and now I can color it this way. Okay, now but let's say I want a different text. Let's say I want to overlap it, so I can click on one text or one character, and I can change the transparency of it. Let's say I make it uniform here, and then I'll make it 50. Let's say 6, maybe 38. So I click on the next text. I'll make it uniform, and I'll change the transparency. So basically you can play around with the transparency, uniform, to create an interesting effect. Okay, I think it's best to remove the outline here. So right mouse click on this icon here for no outline. So this we can continue, make it uniform, and change the transparency, and this one too. Okay, I'm just gonna delete that. So yeah, so that's another effect there, which is really easy to do in Corel. Just changing the transparency. Another effect too is the bevel effect, which is so you click on the text and make sure you go to Window, Docker, and then click on bevel here. So Windows, Docker, and then bevel. So in bevel here you can create a soft edge or embossed. But let's say we go to soft edge here, and then you can play around with the distance here and the direction. Okay, let's say we try this one and click on apply. See, you notice that it did a bevel effect. So whenever you want to change the bevel effect, you have to undo the effect first before editing it. So let's say I want to make the distance larger, let's say 0.2 of an inch, and then click on apply. So that's the effect that you'll get. Okay. So that's one effect. And you can also, I'm just going to type in another one here. So effect. So let's say we're going to use the the emboss. So I'm going to color that green. Same thing. Okay, we're just going to experiment here. So you click on emboss, and then let's do the default first, and then click apply. Okay, so I'll click undo because we didn't see any change, because I think because of the distance it's too small. So let's say the distance is 0.1. We start with 0.1 of an inch. And click on apply. So that's the emboss. I don't know if you see it, but there's a gray text there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this black here, or dark green. Arrange order to back of page, and I'm just going to delete this and then type in again effects. Okay, so that we can see the effect of the emboss. Okay, so I click on that. Let's just make it that color. Okay, move that. So I click here, and then we go emboss and 0.1 of an inch, and then you can change, you know, the intensity direction. Let's just click on apply here. Okay, so you notice that the, you know, it made an emboss effect. Okay, I click on undo, and let's say we change the color, because this one, the light color is white. Well, let's say we make it this color here, beige or light green, and in the shadow we can change it to as dark green. Okay, and click on apply. There. So you can change, you know, all the properties in here. I think I'll just go with black. I think black is better. Click on apply. There's the shadow. So that's another effect too. Another effect is the fading effect of the text too. So I made a dark background, and then the text would be lighter. So I go to my interactive transparency tool. Okay, click on this and just click, hold down Control Shift to make it straight, like the transparency to be straight. Okay. Now if you notice here, that's black. So I'm going to move this black, okay, the black color, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, and okay, so I've got black and black, which means to say it's all transparent. But if I click on the white here, and then I move my white in the center here. Oops, I'm gonna do that again. There. So now I can create a fading effect. Okay. So that's another style too. Another style too is doing a power clip on the text. So let's say I'm going to type here chess. So I've got a photograph, and okay, I'm just going to decrease the spacing. Okay, so let's say that's fine, and I'm going to power clip this onto my text. Just gonna make that bigger. Okay, so I click on the image, I go to effects, power clip, place inside the container, okay, and I click on the container, which is the text. So there I have it. Now even though this is power clip, you can still stylize it by, let's say you want to add some outline, let's say 8 points, and outline pen, just gonna make it maybe 12 points. Behind fill scale with image, click OK. Maybe thicker some more, say 16 points, maybe 24 points. Okay, and you can still, apply some effects like drop shadow, like that. Even though it's power clip, you can still use the drop shadow. There. Okay, so that's another style.